Hello, everyone. It's CPSC Jamini again, and I will present a generic strategy for developing an academic poster design. Now, the word generic sounds like general, and in fact, that's what it means. A generic strategy is one that will work for any academic discipline. The generic approach involves 6 steps. First, create the beginning elements of the poster. Second, create an optional end element of the poster, the reference section. Third, determine the structural elements. That is, divide the poster into sections and give each one a caption. Fourth, choose the needed visual elements. That is, the tables, diagrams, photographs, and so on, and locate them in the appropriate sections. Fifth, add text to tie everything together and create a coherent narrative. Sixth and last, lay out all of the materials within the poster space. Step 1 is to insert the beginning element. Start by choosing a title. This should be concise, but detailed enough to describe the focus of the research. For example, brand awareness among university students in Taiwan. It's not a good title because it is too vague. The viewer may wonder what types of brands are being discussed and what factors affecting brand awareness among students are being considered. By adding more detail, the title can be improved, like the relationship between academic major and brand awareness among students purchasing sneakers in Taiwan. That is far more informative and it sounds interesting. Next, write the full names of the student authors, including their given names and family names. Sometimes it may be appropriate to add the name of a faculty advisor. If you're working under the supervision of a teacher, make sure to discuss this with him or her. If you're unsure whether to include titles such as doctor or professor, then include them just to be safe. Last, write the affiliations of all group members, including the schools and possibly the departments. Often, all authors will be from the same school. However, sometimes their affiliations may differ. In this case, find a way to match the name of each author to his or her affiliation. Step 2 is to add a reference list if the project relied on published sources of information. The reference section acknowledges the sources, such as journal papers or professional websites, that contributed significantly to the poster. Since a poster has limited space, include only the most important sources. There are many standards for formatting references and citations, including the American Psychological Association, the APA, the Chicago system, and the Harvard system, etc. Choose the standard that is most appropriate in your field of study. Step 3 is to add the structural elements. The first element at the top of the poster shows the title and authors. The last element in the bottom right corner is the references. Divide the remaining area of the poster into sections and assign a caption to each. The captions are what you might expect in a published paper with your chosen title. Imagine publishing a paper on the topic of your poster. The sections in the poster will cover the same sections as the paper, but in less detail. The poster is a digest of this imagined paper. To choose the section captions, you must decide how descriptive they should be. Imagine a poster on the teaching of calculus. Here is a table that contrasts generic and descriptive captions for 4 sections in the poster. A generic title of the first section would be Introduction, and a descriptive title would be The Problems, Why Students Fail to Learn Calculus. A generic title of the second section would be Methods, and a descriptive equivalent would be Analysis using the Heckman selection model, and so on and so forth. Clearly, there's a trade-off. Descriptive titles are more informative. They say more about the content. However, they consume more poster space. and that is a disadvantage. The standards regarding titles and section captions may depend on your field of research. Consider the accepted practices in your field. If you are in engineering, you may not need a literature review as you would be in the humanities. In engineering, the title could be quite long, especially when it describes a complex methodology. For more ideas, look at the published research in your discipline. Examine the section headings used in journals and conference papers. You can also consult your advisor. The section captions may also depend on the purpose of the poster. For example, if the poster is a literature review, then the captions will reflect previous research. First, identify the separate streams of related research, then create one section caption for each. Here's another situation where the section captions can grow organically from the purpose of the poster. In a persuasive poster, the author presents a solution to a problem. This is equivalent to arguing the affirmative case in a debate on public policy. The poster presents constructive arguments in favor of the proposed action. Therefore, some sections should be devoted to aspects of the problem and others to aspects of the solution. Here are 5 section titles based on the stock issues of debate: impact, problem significance, problem inherent are all aspects of the problem. Solution feasibility and solution solvency are both aspects of the solution. Step 4 is to add the visual elements. These include tables, figures, and photos that communicate information without relying on whole sentences and paragraphs. Place each visual element in its intended section. Think of the visual elements as clickbait. They can be seen from a distance, and most viewers find them more appealing than text. Whenever possible, visuals should be in place of text to attract the viewers, keeping in mind that some topics are more amenable to visualization than others. Step 5 is to add the text to each section. That is the whole sentences and paragraphs. Each section should have some text, but not too much. The text will help you connect the dots represented by the visual elements. The text will describe key points regarding each visual element. It will also tie everything together and turn the whole poster into a coherent story. Step 6 is to lay the content out on the poster. Remember, the title and the author information come first, across the top of the poster, and the references come last in the bottom right-hand corner. The section captions should be arranged from top to bottom or left to right in the space between. Here's how 6 section captions might be arranged in a top to bottom design, with the 6 representing the references. Now insert each visual element into the right section. Then add the text to tie everything together. Let's take a look at how this process could work for a whole poster. As you can see on the right, that is a sample of a poster. First, the title and author information are placed at the top. Second, the references are placed in the bottom right corner. Third, the individual sections and their captions are placed in between. Fourth, the visual elements are placed in their intended sections. Fifth, the text is added. And sixth and last, everything is arranged on the poster.